Let's evaluate what is in MedSkill Hub Marathon 2. Today, we're taking a fascinating journey through some of the absolute most critical, complex, and honestly, sometimes totally misunderstood concepts in laboratory medicine.
Welcome to The Explainer. I am so incredibly excited to share this with you today because we're diving into content directly from MedSkill Hub. For those who might not know, MedSkill Hub is a CPD provider accredited by KMLTB to offer CPDs to medical laboratory professionals right here in Kenya. They're doing absolutely incredible work elevating diagnostic standards across the board. And today, well, we get a front row seat to their masterclass material.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our agenda for today's explainer. First, welcome to MedSkill Hub. Second, the tumor marker illusion. Third, mastering PCR with MedSkill Hub. Fourth, stool microscopy, parasites versus artifacts. Fifth, the future, liquid biopsies. And finally, number 6, advance your lab career.
Welcome to MedSkill Hub. Let's take a quick look at the foundation of this Marathon 2 curriculum.
So this Marathon 2 curriculum overview is specifically designed to bridge the gap from your standard foundational knowledge all the way up to consultant-level laboratory practice. And what's really fantastic for lab professionals in Kenya is that it's fully KMLTB accredited. That means you earned 3 CPD points per chapter. But honestly, it's not just about ticking boxes and earning points. It's about fundamentally upgrading how you interpret what's actually happening inside the test tube.
Section 2, the tumor marker illusion. This brings us to a super intriguing question. Why do our most sophisticated cancer tests often lie?
Imagine you're looking at a lab readout for an asymptomatic 62-year-old man. The screen flashes red with a PSA result of 7.5. Now, to a patient, that number feels like a blazing siren, right? Like a binary alarm. You either have cancer or you don't. But for us in the lab, we know that an isolated data point like this is really just a biological whisper. It's diagnostic noise. Like, say, elevated glycoproteins. It tells us that the cellular architecture is compromised? Sure, but it absolutely does not mean there's a malignancy.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why that is. People often think tumors invent these unique, completely alien proteins, but they don't. Cancer cells are literally just normal cells with corrupted source code. They inappropriately manufacture normal human proteins simply by breaking their epigenetic locks and reading from ancient fetal blueprints. That is exactly why you might see elevated oncofetal antigens in an adult patient. It's basically like a chaotic factory reset of the cell itself.
In diagnostics, we're kind of always chasing the myth of the ideal marker. That 100% specific, 100% sensitive, diagnostic unicorn that never misses cancer and never falsely flags a healthy person. But biological reality? It's messy. Unicorns just don't exist. Going back to our 62-year-old guy with a 7.5 PSA, completely benign conditions, like benign prostatic hyperplasia, simply add more normal cells, which then mechanically stretch the tissue. Or a severe infection like prostatitis can literally rupture the basement membrane. Both of these cause massive spikes in baseline levels without a single cancer cell actually being present. It's wild.
Section 3. Mastering PCR with MedSkill Hub. Let's pivot from oncology and zoom right down to the molecular level.
So, how do we move from theory to practice? Reading about molecular biology is one thing, but getting hands-on is another. Well, MedSkill Hub, who, as a reminder, is an accredited KMLTB CPD provider here in Kenya, solves this exact problem through the interactive digital tools built right into their curriculum.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how the MedSkill Hub interactive PCR simulator works. You aren't just sitting there memorizing facts, you're actually interacting with a virtual PCR amplifier. By tweaking the cycle numbers in the initial DNA strands, you literally visualize real-time active DNA amplification. That qPCR graph perfectly maps the detectable fluorescence signal as it shoots up exponentially. It shows you exactly how we estimate viral or bacterial loads in an actual patient sample.
And this simulator perfectly reinforces the 3 critical thermal cycle steps. First up, denaturation, where we crank up the heat to separate those DNA strands. Second, annealing, where our specific primers bind right to the targets. And finally, extension, where polymerase acts like a tiny machine racing down the strand to build DNA. It turns that abstract idea of making a genetic photocopy into millions of copies right before your eyes.
Section 4. Stool microscopy, parasites versus artifacts. Let's bring this explainer back to the crucial daily benchwork realities.
Stool microscopy.
I know, it sounds super basic, but the diagnostic matrix here has incredibly high stakes. Every single day, technologists are peering through a microscope into a literal universe of debris. If you misidentify a harmless artifact as a parasite, you're setting a patient up for totally unnecessary and sometimes toxic treatments. But if you miss a true parasite, well, that just prolongs their suffering and lets the disease spread.
So the crucial point is really learning to spot the difference. True parasites are structured biological organisms. They display uniform, predictable karyosomes, consistent morphology, and highly organized internal architecture. Artifacts? They are the ultimate imposters. A piece of plant fiber, a fat droplet, or just random cellular debris will look completely erratic and asymmetrical. If you're scanning multiple fields and no two structures look exactly alike, your artifact alarm bells should be ringing super loudly.
Section 5. The future. Liquid biopsies. Now that we're grounded at the bench, let's rocket forward into the cutting-edge future of diagnostics.
Fragmentomics allows us to extract microscopic messages in a bottle from a simple blood draw. What a breathtaking quote, right? Think about it. When a tumor grows rapidly, its core gets starved of oxygen, undergoes necrosis, and literally bursts. Plus, the immune system is attacking it, causing cells to fragment. In both scenarios, the cancer's mutated DNA just spills right into the bloodstream as circulating tumor DNA, or ctDNA. Because of this, we're moving past the days of needing physically traumatic, invasive surgical biopsies just to figure out what a tumor is doing deep inside the body.
This is a monumental shift. Older analog immunoassays like ELISAs are just mechanically vulnerable. Like if blood is drawn too quickly and red blood cells burst, that cross-reactivity in hemolysis creates a fog that basically blinds the test. Plus, they suffer from the hook effect, where a massive tumor might bizarrely read as a 0. But digital sequencing? Next-generation sequencing, or NGS, completely bypasses this. We map the exact mutational landscape of those ctDNA fragments. This absolute, pinpoint precision is exactly what lets oncologists prescribe hyper-targeted therapies that shut down a tumor while leaving healthy cells totally alone.
Section 6. Advance your lab career. The jump from basic bench work to fragmentomics is huge, but it's the exact journey you need to make.
Which brings us right back to the core of today's explainer. How do you actually master all of this complex stuff? MedSkillHub is the ultimate solution here. Seriously, MedSkillHub is a CPD provider accredited by KMLTB to offer CPDs to medical laboratory professionals in Kenya. It gives you self-paced, mobile learning right from your pocket. Whether you're decoding an amoeba or figuring out next-generation sequencing, they provide the roadmap. You earn 3 CPD points per chapter, and more importantly, you genuinely bridge the gap to consultant-level practice.
The absolute best part is how incredibly accessible it is. No dusty lecture halls required. You can literally start this journey right now straight from your phone. Just head on over to the Google Play Store, search for MedSkillHub, and download the app. It's your direct portal to the Marathon 2 Masterclass and a massive library of career-defining modules.
We've covered a tremendous amount of ground today, from the chaotic noise of tumor markers to the mind-blowing precision of liquid biopsies. Lab science is only going to get faster and way more complex. So the only question left is, are you ready to bridge the gap to consultant-level practice today? Go download the app, earn those CPD points, and start mastering the science that truly saves lives. Stay curious, and I'll catch you on the next explainer.